Alrighty. So when you all are prepared to kind of pick things up and leave Lonely Wood, under the assumption that you are kind of traveling into the waste for a generally unknown amount of time, you have a vague understanding that you will be effectively well enough fed with good berries, and any other rations that you all have. I think you have a significant portion of the actual um, the meat from the elk as well. So realistically, you all aren't necessarily, or the moose, you all aren't necessarily going to be suffering for lack of anything. But heading off into the wilderness, you are basically just after the full moon in Shay. This is kind of the end of winter, turning towards what would normally be spring. But of course, with the permanent night, things really don't get much better, anyways, as the months kind of go on forward. But you all are kind of like around that general point. And as you prepare to leave, do you all have any particular thoughts on how you would like to start to effectively? You need to wander and search through the wastes. Do you have kind of a plan on you want to like do this, and this so you can kind of block off areas that you've gone to? What kind of thoughts do you all have on how to find something you have no clue where it is?
Well, I mean, we could always go with like the search party rules. Just find a point, start making slow circles, make them larger and larger as we keep going, work our way out.
Yeah, that was basically all I had, or grid search. I mean, we don't know where we don't have any ideas of what to look for or where to look for it.
I mean, those literally are ideas, so you do have ideas. Do you want to do a circle? Do you want to do a grid? I have an archaeology background. I know which one of those is a better thing for as far as archaeologists are concerned. But do you all have an opinion on which of those sounds better to you? A grid or a circle? Or rather, a spiral?
I would say grid's probably going to be better in the long run, just because we'll know for sure which areas we've marked off.
I'll go with that.
Do either of you have cartography as a proficiency?
No?
Oh, I do not.
So I see no reason with this coming up that Zaps would not be able to create a cartographer's kit and be able to actually help plot this out. Um, so you can actually effectively have a map as you all are crossing things off, and have those like levels of understanding. It just won't necessarily include like that extra proficiency that might give you a this or a that on the actual test, but it does give you that a little bit closer to an assurance that you're wasting as little time as possible, kind of thing. But with the two of you as the two survivals, let me get a survival check from you two here.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and make that kit. That way we've got it.
Let me have each of you roll a d6 for me, please. And let me have one of you, just whoever rolls it first, basically. The first one rolled a d8, please. Pretty sure each of those are the answer that it turns an encounter into no encounter.
So we don't run into the vicious owl bears. Nice. Or whatever the fuck that was going to be.
So over the next 6 days, you all will wander around the Northlands above Lonelywood and keeping rather close to the actual river that feeds into Mer Dualden. In this process, you all will kind of come about the fact that this land is almost in like a massive ravine where the river has actually cut through over the ages of this hill, not necessarily hill, but of these lands that kind of slowly come down off of the actual glacier of the Red Glacier. Let's see if I actually have this on this map. So the Red Glacier is way off to the east of where you all are, but it still is basically like you're still in kind of highlands where you are, and more or less this is kind of like a little mini Grand Canyon type of thing where this river cuts through the actual ice, and you will kind of over and over again butt into it in your search, kind of doing these like grid pattern spirals that continue to kind of push off a little bit farther east, under the idea that at some point you might realize that you've searched so much that you have to actually cross over to the other side of the ravine. But on some level, you are kind of like doing little like crosshatches that tell you that you're searching and able to lock off large parts of this area because you have not spotted the cabin. What's up, Josh?
Hey, really sorry about that. All done now.
Oh, good.
Tuesday pizza.
No, not pizza this time. It was an Indian takeaway. First time I've had an Indian takeaway in a couple of years, that.
Oh, that was one of my go-tos when I was a vegetarian.
Yeah, good call. You're a vegetarian, actually. I mean, sometimes I say sometimes, I don't have it very often these days, but usually I have a vegetarian one just because it's tastier, in my opinion.
I think with the right cooking, that's one of the funny things about eating vegetarian. It doesn't have to be like hostile. You're just like, yep,
Yeah,
that was simply just a good meal.
completely agree with that. And especially when you just make a meal that is naturally vegetarian rather than a vegetarian version of a non-vegetarian meal.
Yeah, yeah.
You mean like chicken protein?
Yeah, stuff like that, where it's like, yeah, it's all like a burger, but it's like a special vegetarian soy replacement burger patty instead. It's like just have a really nice salad or pasta or something, you know?
My oldest brother, when he got his first house, I went down to his house for a housewarming, and I made like tofu chicken nuggets from scratch. Like not the tofu, but I made tofu chicken nuggets because it was still like early in me being vegetarian. I wanted to have chicken nuggets. And I made them, and it was hilarious to me how many of his friends came over and ate them thinking that they were chicken nuggets. Nobody complained in the least bit until like I came out of the kitchen and I'm like, what the fuck happened to my tofu? And then it like clicks in everybody's head like, oh, those did taste a little bit weird. And it was rather funny because it was basically one of those moments where it's like, well, thanks for the compliment, because that's you telling me if you hadn't have known, you would have never thought twice about those being chicken nuggets.
Yeah, and that's the ideal thing, but it's just so rare to be able to get a perfect like for like replacement. Like that Beyond Burger I was so desperate to try for so long. I was like, yeah, passes, but it's just like a really, really cheap like a burger van style burger.
I think the biggest thing with a lot of those is like for the actual people to mentally have that like I always likened it to I missed having my like honey mustard delivery system. I didn't care whether it was a chicken nugget or a tofu nugget. I missed having honey mustard. Like, because I couldn't have chicken wings, I couldn't have chicken nuggets. Like, I missed having honey mustard. So
Yeah,
that's
it
one
just
of the
seems
things I
easier.
always likened it to. Like, and having a burger, that's not something that like vegetarian is easy to have. Even like black bean burgers, they're delicious, but it doesn't like have the consistency of a burger that you really want.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
So we're basically kind of just like fast forwarding over like the actual finding of the cabin here. I actually want to step back towards some bookkeeping stuff because there are a few things that I wanted to talk about before we really kick things off here.
Cool.
Um, the others have both already asked like if Justin's coming back, and he is in fact done. He will not be returning to the campaigns. Um, for what it is worth, I was very curious, and I want to put it to both of my Icewind Dale campaigns. If people have other days of being available, it would almost be ideal if we can combine the two of you together into a single campaign, because they are both sitting at about 3 people most weeks, and they're almost in the exact same point as well. Um, they've got a little bit different stuff done as they've started to touch chapter 2. You guys have a little bit different stuff done as you start to touch chapter 2, but it would be the type of thing where it would be pretty easy to kind of mesh you together in, hey, we've been wandering around almost like yin and yang, going in opposite directions around these 10 towns.
Yeah, I'd be fine
Um,
with that. I mean, the only thing is obviously I'm in the UK, so if it starts later, I can't do it. That's the only problem.
that's the hard thing. They are Saturdays at 3 p.m., so it would be 2 hours later, which means I feel like you would be going to 1 a.m. Like it's 7 p.m. EST. I think you're 5 hours ahead, so maybe midnight for you.
If it's Saturday, that could be a problem because I'm very rarely around the weekend to play this. I'm normally out doing stuff. Although with COVID at the moment, but yeah,
And I was
normally.
vaguely thinking that could be part of it because I know that group is almost locked into they have to play weekends. So I didn't think it was a good possibility.
No, I can do any weekday except for Friday. But yeah, weekends, I've got other stuff going on.
Gotcha. And that's kind of what I figured. Like my weekday groups, most of the people who play weekdays, it's because they don't have weekends. And most of the people who play weekends, it's because they don't have weekdays. So um, that's one of the minor issues. I didn't think it was a high likeliness that we could actually do that. But that was one of the things that I wanted to bring up. And then one of the other things is that I am playtesting a new feat. It is only a feat because that is a way to add it to your character sheets more than it costs you anything to do. If everybody scrolls over to their character tab and looks under feats and features, scrolling all the way to the bottom, you should see Noble Sacrifice. That is meant to be a new reaction that anybody and everybody can take. What it works out to is after an attack, um, and I think I've got it worded for after damage, but I may actually change that. You can kind of like throw yourself in the way of an attack and take the damage of it. With AoE, it gives you the option of if you also are in the AoE, you can kind of like jump in front of somebody still, but you take the maximum possible damage. If you are outside of the AoE, but still next to a person getting hit by it, you can leap in front and take the damage for them. So there's certain things about that where it would negate things like I think evasion. Um, but it's one of those things I feel like that's a cool little twist on how a reaction could work for when you want to make sure somebody else lives and perhaps your life is less valuable than theirs. But I did want to bring attention to that there.
Yeah, sounds interesting. Sounds a good idea. That definitely sounds so because it's a reaction as well. I mean that yes, somebody they wouldn't be able to use evasion, right? Isn't that a reaction to use as well? So it kind of already prevents somebody from cheesing it by using every turn to give remove damage and to halve it every time because they were already having to burn a reaction to do this.
I don't see it.
You might have to reload your character sheet. You might have already had it. Everybody else I told to do it, but for you guys, I was actually setting it up for you. And Chase, you might be on the same story. You might have to load yourself or reload.
I've already got it.
Word.
All right, got it now.
Yeah, I can't remember offhand, but that was one of the things that I was thinking. So I feel like evasion sounds right, that it should take a reaction to do. But honestly, like basically the way I tried to word it was, if you have resistance, you'll take less. And basically all that kind of turns into is somebody who's resistant to something might be more likely to try to take that damage for somebody else. But in the long run, yeah, I felt like that was a cool little twist on something that makes a lot of sense to kind of have in world. Is that idea to throw yourself in some. It just reminds me of like when you hit the brakes in a car and you throw your arm over the person who's in the passenger seat, like to try to like shield them.
Or get down, Mr. Obama.
Wait, what was that?
Or get down, Mr. Obama.
So those were like the big things that I wanted to go over as far as things go here, and then also to bring up like the actual questions of what everybody's kind of holidays were looking like, whether we were going to plan on playing effectively like next week will be the 21st, and then the week after that is the 28th. I feel like this might be the best group to have the potential for it, but I wanted to actually remind everybody I threw out like a teaser for it like a month ago, but just to make sure everybody was still kind of on board there.
Yeah, I can do the 21st, but can't do the 28th, so that works out perfect for me.
Fine them both.
Yeah, I can play both. So
Gotcha. So if something comes up, I've got people interested in this game as is, so I'm hoping they actually join and start to play. So it's entirely possible that we might have a game between Christmas and New Year's. If it is still the 3 at that point, um, obviously same idea as I was saying before, is in general 3 people is going to be the minimum to run a session. So we will play that one by ear, but I will mark it down as Josh will be busy for the 28th there.
Yeah, I'm off to some place in Wales on the 28th morning, and I'll be back on New Year's Day. So
Very nice. So to kind of jump back into things then there, we basically had them have everybody kind of spending that night after trading like the moose head for some coin and some scrimshander, spending that night inside of Lonelywood and starting to move off into the wild. Was there anything in particular Faint needed before heading off into kind of an unknown length of time into the wilds?
no, I think it was just a long rest. If we got one, obviously we did, and then that'll be it.
Yeah, I think I clicked it for you, so you should already have the long rest applied. I'm not sure if you had anything to really gain back, maybe some of your power dice.
Yeah, I think that would have been it. I think I was on full HP anyway. I think maybe we had a long rest before, thinking about it, but yeah, I'm good, thank you.
So we basically had them kind of like plotting out the idea of how to search for something that you don't know where it is. Talking about the idea of potentially doing a spiral, potentially doing like a grid pattern. After like a little bit of deciding on the grid pattern, Zaps basically would have spent the day before making a set of cartography tools in order to essentially map out your searches as you all moved off into the tundra. And effectively, over the next 6 days, you all are searching this area of the wild, finding that the river that leads into Mer Dualden is actually almost a canyon through the ice, and I don't think it's like legitimately still a glacier, but coming down from the Reg Glacier, uh, that river basically creates like a small canyon along its path. heading to Mare Dualden. So you all are kind of like searching and almost bouncing off of the edge of this canyon as you kind of go north, move to the east, go north, move to the east, and kind of follow this general area. And realistically, if you all wanted to decide that you search one way versus the other, heading more like eastward, closer to Kelvin's Cairn, that's fine in the long run. The dice was just to determine how long it takes you all to find this thing. But effectively, 6 days from then, on Shay the 24th, as the moon is waning towards the new moon that will take you all into Tarsak, um, you will eventually gain sight of this place. So at that, let me have all three of you roll a d8 for me.
Did you say Tarsak?
Yep, it's the Claw of Storms. Like, that's like the official spring.
It's their version of April.
I don't see it on the map.
It's see if the calendar is. It's a name of a month. It's not the name of a place.
Oh.
Yeah, like right now y'all are in Shay, like Claw of Hunger, Claw of Sunsets, and then Tarsak is the Claw of Storms.
Oh, okay.
So a couple of hours past midday, still with plenty of the aurora above head, you all are eventually going to see off in the distance to the north of you a dark black structure that kind of rises out of the ice and the storms. And as you are maybe like a quarter of a mile away from it, you can start to make out that it is indeed a cabin. Getting maybe like an eighth of a mile away, you start to see a couple of 100 kilometers. No, that's too far. Like a kilometer away, you start to see that it is a structure kind of risen up on stilts, and it itself is about 20 feet above the snow below it. About, what is that, like 7 meters, I think, above the snow. And as you all approach from the south here, you will have your first sights of the Black Cabin. You can see an old structure. You can see that it has like a walkway around it, a set of stairs that leads up to it. It has two structures that are independent of it. One of them is an outhouse. The other is like a wood structure. You can assume like essentially an outhouse and a place to store firewood. But while you all are approaching, what sort of thoughts do you all have in approaching the Black Cabin?
Can I go ahead and cast Detect Magic and just kind of see if I can tell if anything's going on?
From how far away?
So it's actually centered on myself. It's got an area of 30 feet, and it lasts 10 minutes. It's a concentration.
That's what I mean, though. How far away do you want to cast it from?
How close are we to the cabin?
How far away do you want to be from the cabin?
Let's,
Let's
got a
go with
range.
30 feet.
Yeah, it's got a range of 30 feet. Let's keep as much as I can away from it.
This is one of those things. It's not a trick question. This is a tell me what you're doing, because you're casting a spell that you need to be in the center of things for. So tell me what is going on.
If we're walking up towards it, I kind of want to be in between the little outhouse and shed looking thing, looking by the stairs, just kind of keeping my eye out. seeing if I can feel anything going on with it.
Excellent. Place yourself between the shed and the outhouse on this here map. If you don't see it right now, make sure to scroll down to the southeast corner.
I'll ping out my psychic whispers to the two of you as well, so we're linked.
Give us that. What is it? It's a D8, right? Or is it a D6?
I think it's a D6. Let me just double check that. Where the hell is it? Oh, it's under limited use. Oh, 1d6. So 3 hours
Oh,
of
3 hours.
psychic.
Word.
I know I say this a lot, but this place looks really ominous. Probably the most ominous of places we've been so far.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty on the nose for whatever this place is.
Can I sense anything with the detect magic, or is it not going off at all?
Around where you are, you're going to be looking around and seeing, I believe, Kansas will emanate conjuration magic. And other than that, nope. I don't believe you're going to see any auras at this point.
Okay, cool.
So, do we want to try to find a way in, or do we want to just mill about outside for a moment?
Well, just to recap a second. So the mission was just to find it, was it? Or was it to get something out of it? I can't remember. Let's check the quest log. Oh, it's just popped up as if by magic. It is a magical lodge.
He gave us.
Just
Didn't he give us something whenever we were at his cabin to like call him once we found this thing?
Yeah, it says call on Akalos in Bryn Shandar.
Yeah, I feel like he gave us like an item to like call on him when we found it.
yeah, checking my notes as well. All my notes are all just about him. That's the least useful notes about the quest ever. Yeah, he did. Didn't he give us, was it parchment to write on or something? Was it? Yeah, I can't see.
Yeah, I think he did, but I think Ezekiel had it in his his inventory.
Yeah, it might have been to use the diplomat's pouch to contact him and he was almost like stealing the power of it. Instead of contacting the woman who gave it to him, kind of passing a note through it to him in particular, he would be able to intercept.
So I say psychically, what do you think then? Are we gonna let him know straight away, or do you want to check it out first? He seemed pretty powerful to me, so he's not someone I want to make an enemy of. Kind of feel like doing it by the book this time.
Yes, but there's also no guarantee that if we call him now, we get any kind of reward out of this. If we search it first, maybe we find something good, maybe we don't. But I tend to agree we might actually need his help on this. But I sense nothing so far besides Kansas.
What about you can sense magical things, right? What if we do a little sneaky, stealthy lap around the outside, closer to the lodge, and see if you can sense anything through the walls on the inside as we pass around it?
Sounds like a great idea to me.
All right, to reduce the risk, I don't know if you want to wait here with the dog, Kansas, and the two of us will go around. That way we're split. If anything does jump out at us, at least we're together.
Roll a stealth for me.
Oof.
Yeah, I am not the stealthiest of lizards.
And what are
Oh,
you thinking about insofar as what you will be doing to circle the house? Like, what thoughts do you all have there?
well, I'll show you with my character thing now, but this isn't actually me moving. This is me just me demonstrating because I don't want to draw on the map. Otherwise, I always struggle to delete it. So I'm thinking like we just stick close to the wall and we sort of move around the outside. It looks like there's a cliff towards the top, so we can't go all the way around this way. And just as we go, check in to see if he senses anything magical inside the building from the perimeter around the outside.
Well, again, you guys also remember it's on stilts. The cabin is 20 feet above you.
So I could go underneath it, I guess. If we go around the outside, though, we can see if there's any, quick exits or entrances. Where we go under, we could maybe hear footsteps if there's any.
Yeah, I'm down. We can either go in and try to take it slow or go underneath it.
We're going in, we're going together.
What if it sits down on top of us?
Yeah, that actually is a good point. This thing is supposed to move around, I guess. So why don't we just go in? Just check it out.
Oh,
What are you all doing when you are stealthing around it? You've already done that, so what are you doing? You're just going around that outskirted edge?
yeah, go on the outskirts. I'm going with him just in case anything happens. We'll at least we'll be together so we can fight and stuff. But yeah, just sticking close to the perimeter of it, going around the outside, and so that Zaps can see if his detect magic pings for anything glowing inside as we move around.
Yeah, I'm just gonna walk over to this little corner where I moved my character, see if I can sense anything yet.
I'm just going to keep my eyes and ears open for any sounds of anything at all that might be either moving or a threat of any kind, and looking around, see if there's anything in the woods and stuff.
Okay, I'm gonna assume I don't
Oh,
have.
hold up 1 minute. Gotcha. So, as you all make your way around the cabin, about halfway. Now, I think you all can basically make your circle around the edge of the cabin. If you're not going under it, you'll eventually see the cliff side. You'll eventually have a good sense that the cliff, or that part of the cabin is actually overlapping the cliff. Um, and yeah, let me get an intelligence from the two of you.
Our strong suit.
Yep.
Actually, is mine.
Wow, you get a +4.
That's a
Artificer got
save,
to
though.
be smart.
What are
You
you
get
doing
more.
now with us?
Is your standard intelligence modifier different to a +4?
No, I have a +4 to intelligence.
Oh, fair play. It's just because that was a save, that was all. I was just trying to see if you maybe get an extra point.
No, yeah, no, you're wrong. Sorry, my intelligence is actually +2. That was a save. My bad.
Oh, damn it. I thought it'd go the other way.
That wasn't very smart.
Well, I am only 7
Still a
points as
17.
Oh, we always take the first roll. It's still a 15.
Yeah, it's not bad, though. Fane does some quick maths on his hands. I'd have to roll at least a 24 to get a 17 with my modifier.
So I think y'all will spend the next few minutes kind of walking around the edge of this place, not having any sense of actual magic emanating from within the areas that you kind of pass by. But I think that'll give you at least a little bit of an idea that, from what you can tell, this place doesn't seem to be magical.
Very strange. I'm saying psychically because, for a lodge that itself was described as a magical thing that teleports around, that's suspicious. Unless there's something inside with the ability to move it.
Well, in all of my travels, there have been several towns where the folklore and the superstition of a place ended up being way more than was actually there. So,
Mm.
why don't we try to go in and see if we can figure this out?
Well, before we do, Kansas, I don't suppose you can see any tracks around it that aren't our own. Because what
Um,
if,
well,
there's a magical creature that lives in here and has just popped out for a bit, and then whenever it wants to, it teleports the whole lodge, and the person or thing is magical, and they're not home right now.
Roll a survival for us, Kansas. You see signs that the outhouse was probably used maybe 3 to 4 days ago.
that's a long time.
Well, maybe we should check that first, and maybe there's something in there.
Listen, you check the outhouse if you want. I'm not sticking my scaly ass in there.
I'm sick of crapping in bushes, so I'll check it out then. I'll put my ear to the door, see if I can hear anything before I think about opening it. And then if it sounds clear, I'll slowly pull it open and peer through.
You can do a perception check. What is Zaps doing while he's looking into the outhouse?
I'm just gonna kind of stay nearby.
Gotcha. Taking a moment to listen to. Nope, doesn't seem to be anything happening inside of the outhouse. It's got a hefty amount of snow in it, but it shouldn't take you long to be able to get the door open and actually be able to look inside.
I'll pull it open. I'm guessing it's empty.
As you kind of search around, there seems to be like a stack of like papers that are kind of left inside, perhaps to be used as toilet paper.
Is there any frozen waste in the toilet bowl?
Never thought that I would have to decide whether there is. So yes, there is
There is
indeed.
like
Roll a disgusting test. Just a d20, please.
6.
There are some very normal-sized human turds inside of uh, the the waste section. God damn.
Hey, Kansas, you know when like survival people put their finger in animal waste and then suck the finger to find out what it is? Well, have I got a job for you?
no.
If you
Fair
rolled a
enough.
20, it was going to be gnome-sized.
Well, it's been used, but not in a while, and there's no one in here now. This is all very peculiar. Well, I guess we go in. Kansas, don't suppose you want to find a friend in your bag first?
Sure, I was wondering about that.
So before we go in, here's my theories. One, the adventurers that go missing and never get found is because that wizard guy is bumping people off for whatever reason. Two is that there's someone who's using this place and they teleport it around rather than the lodge itself being magical. And C, um, the lodge is magical, but not right now. Or no, C is this is just a standard lodge and we've got the wrong place.
Never thought about that. It might not be the right place at all.
Well, I suppose there's only one way to find out at this point. Well, two ways. First way we go in, and then the second way is we call our friend.
I vote we go in first. I'm still not 100% sure about that wizard.
Yeah, it could be right. Well, should we get ready to go in? Don't know if your dog wants to go in first.
Yeah, me and the dog will walk in. I assume there's a door somewhere up these stairs, right?
It's like 20 feet above the snow, isn't it?
Indeed.
Is there a ladder or a staircase up onto it?
Staircase is that like front entrance that he basically has walked up there. Kind of going around the edge, you'll see a lot of these boards. Stop moving. If I'm talking, you should not be moving your character. That's the way you almost fell down the cliff into the Underdark. Walking up the stairs and making your way onto this little deck that circles around the cabin. Every footstep is going to be like hesitantly, you can hear the creaks and the squishing of the boards beneath the weight below you. And this is not a sturdy place to be. How much does the dog weigh?
It actually doesn't specify.
Google says 150 to 220 pounds, which is a made-up unit in my opinion.
That sounds about right, I think.
Yeah, he's made out of scrap metal. So
You take a dog size that's like 80 or so pounds and you make it out of metal, it's probably going to weigh that much. Yeah, so as you are climbing up these stairs, and kind of getting off of the stairs and making your way, you are going to feel unsteady zaps, and the steel defender is going to fall through the actual floorboards and land 20 feet below, taking 1 bludgeoning damage. Landing prone, but overall not really affected by it. But you have a pretty solid understanding. These floors cannot hold 150 pounds.
okay.
I'm fucked then.
Yeah, I'm pretty close to fucked because my character weighs 26 pounds and I've got like 100 pounds of gear.
My character just straight up weighs 155 pounds apparently.
I got you at 30 pounds. Why'd you say 26?
I thought that's what I put on my character sheet. It's probably 30. Doesn't matter. So I'm at 134 pounds.
Yeah, I weigh 155. I'm carrying 150, so can't go up.
I should be under 150.
Yeah, you could also wild shape into something and get in there probably easier than we can. Problem is, you might not have any backup if you do.
So, what do you want to do with this house now that we found it?
Check out the inside, make sure there's nothing going on in there, and then try to get a hold of the wizard dude to figure out what we need to do.
Well, what if you go up to the door, Zaps, you can probably get in with your weight, and the Panther probably can, and Kansas, you probably can if you leave your pack behind. You go in, and then you take a rope with you, lower it to me, and then the 3 of you pull me up, and we'll leave the steel defender on guard.
So when the steel defender falls through, is Zaps basically like jumping back across and walking down the stairs? Or are you having this conversation from up top there?
Now I'll walk back down and get with everybody, try to figure out what we're going to do.
Yeah, so don't forget we're psychically linked, so we can always have the conversation quietly.
Yeah, that's true. How much of the stairs fell away?
Just that 5-foot section, effectively, where he is placed right there.
Yeah, then I'll just stick where I'm at because I can still communicate with Faint and Kansas. So, how many wild shapes do you have a day, Jamie?
3?
She doesn't need to wild shape, though. You weigh 25 pounds. You can walk up there. The question is do you take all of your gear and risk anything versus just setting your gear down, and you clearly don't weigh nearly as much as even Zaps does, how he's up there right now.
Bury our packs in the snow so they're hidden if anything comes along.
Oh, well, that's a good idea. Now, a wild shape I can do twice per short rest.
So you could wild shape into a bird and just fly in.
Nope. She does not have flying nor swimming speeds at this point.
Oh, excellent. So not that then.
Oh, I have
Squirrel.
an owl.
Or
can't-
you could do a squirrel and I'll just throw you in.
Yeah, flying squirrel.
Like a sugar glider.
You've seen an owl, Jamie. That's why that's a part of your character sheet. You still can't turn into creatures with flying speed until I believe you are level like 8 or 10.
Okay, or maybe it's an owl that walks or something. But I can turn into a squirrel, right?
Of course, but you still don't need to. You can just walk up there.
Okay, I'm gonna put my stuff down and just walk up there.
While she's doing that, I'll start burying her pack in the snow. Zaps, did you leave yours as well?
Yeah, I'll toss mine down to you and just keep my shield and my hammer with me to kind of reduce my weight.
All right, I'll go and do it over by this tree, so it's slightly out of the way. So if anybody comes along, they can just step on it, so we know where it is as well as like a landmarker.
So you're moving up there with him, Kansas?
Yes.
Taking your panther with you?
Sure. It's probably below 150.
$53 to 100 kilograms.
What a wild difference. Whatever I
I know.
searched, I got a 27 to 113 kilograms, which was 60 to 250 pounds. So there's like twice as much of the lowest weight range between ours.
It really is. It's the most cop-out answer ever.
Like they have some amount of weight up to a shitload of weight, and that's how much they can weigh. Like, thank you.
So
Thank you for being very clear about
how much does a panther weigh? Yes, they do.
it. Indeed.
I'm gonna like carefully start trying to move up the rest of these stairs.
At that point, you guys are basically on the actual walkway. Once you're on like the west side, that's like just walkway. The 20-foot stairs is basically where Kansas like still is. Um, so as you kind of get around, the walkway is still unsturdy. You don't feel it moving nearly as much underneath your weight after you've thrown off your most of your equipment. I think you probably still weigh about 80 pounds, which you have a pretty solid understanding just from being a bit of an engineer yourself, that you're like around that half point of what these things can support just by how they're flexing and whatnot. But you feel comfortable enough at that point that you're kind of moving forward. But you're going to continue to the north, basically.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep looking for some way into the cabin. Just keep going north.
Roll a percentage die for me, please.
So a D100.
Yep, if you go over 50%, your detect magic is still on as you kind of take these last few steps. As you kind of move forward, you're going to start to feel the radiance of transmutation magic in front of you, inside of the cabin, right about the edge of your detection field when your magic stops.
Friends, I definitely felt something for a brief second. My spell is over, and I do not wish to burn another one for the day. But something or someone is here that has magic.
That
I'm
makes sense.
I'm going to try to be very quiet and see if I can't catch a look.
I'm gonna crouch down and try to just. Is there any windows or anything on this thing on this side?
So where you're at here, there is a door basically like the 5 feet in front of you to the northeast is a door. You're basically right, you're just a little bit south of where that door is at present. But right now you have a door that's northeast of you, as well as along that southern wall that is ahead of you. There is a window about 5 or 10 feet west of where like that part of it works or is kind of continuing on. So if you kind of turn that corner, you'll basically come to the window that overlooks that area. Other than that, there's a lot of parts of that walkway that have fallen away. Um, One part is beneath one of the windows, and the door is actually on the farthest western side of that part. So there is a door here and a door here. I think the right one just barely kind of shows up. And then a window there and a window there.
All right, I'm gonna walk to that first door on my right and try to just as stealthily as I can open it up and peek inside.
Gotcha, roll a stealth check. So as you start to open up the door, there's a little bit of a as the hinges break and the door is going to fall off the hinges, slam down into the ground, and kind of fall in front of you. But looking inside, kind of a single room. There's a table in the center, just a little bit south of where you are. Everything seems to be frozen in ice. Make an intelligence check for me. Looking around, it's probably somebody's workshop of sorts.
I
Well-
whisper psychically, "You alright? You okay? How's it look?"
Seems to be a workshop for now, but after that hellacious bang, if there is anyone here, he's gonna know I'm here. Doesn't seem
All right.
anything yet, though. I'm gonna move into the workshop and see what's about.
Well, if we're making noise, do you want me to chop a tree, lean it against it, climb the tree, and come in?
No, just come up the stairs behind Kansas and the Panther. I think we can
Oh,
all
way
make
too
it in.
much.
Oh, yeah. Get the rope out of my bag and toss it up to me. I'll see if I can secure it up to something.
Oh, fair enough. I'll just come to the edge. I'll just throw a rope up to him.
Can I hold on to the rope and haul him up, or is there anything to tie it off to get him up here?
You could certainly try with a strength check.
Okay. I'll go ahead and make the strength check, and I'm gonna burn one of the uses on my armor that I infused. It's armor of magical strength. It lets me add my intelligence modifier to a strength check. So just add a +2 to whatever I roll.
So you are lifting Faint up from on top of the area right next to where your dog fell through. With a rope.
No, I kind of want to get like inside into the cabin, like kind of back here ish in the doorway, but not uh, on the actual grate itself.
Gotcha. Roll a Constitution saving throw. As you're pulling Faint up and getting him most of the way up, one of your legs is going to go through the actual floorboards, and you are going to take 3 points of slashing damage. Other than that, you all are once again reminded the floors of this place are incredibly weak. Be careful. But Faint, you are up top. At this point, I'm going to say, with the understanding that you've seen stuff about your size fall through, you need to basically be prone up here until you feel comfortable to stand up. And when you feel comfortable to stand up, let me know.
Okay, fair enough. Prone it is.
But my point is like, you understand, like, on some level, you need to disperse your weight on more than 2 feet.
Got it. I don't think I've got anything useful as well with help. Nope. So one thing I will do just to help, even though I'll be going prone, is I'll wear my snowshoes to disperse my weight a little bit as well.
Alrighty, I can dig that.
Yeah, physics buddies.
I'm gonna kind of walk into the workshop a little farther to this table in the northeast corner and see if I can find anything, any notes, any books, pieces lying around, something to tell us what's going on.
Roll an investigation. Inside, you're able to find a few pieces of, like, paper scraps. They seem to have been kind of like drawn into a little squirrel's nest that's like in one of the corners off of like a otherwise empty bookcase. You can actually see the hole where the squirrels seem to be coming up from below and entering through the floor from one of the stilts below. The paper itself doesn't seem to have any information on it. It's effectively a blank piece of paper. But what you do find is, going through, after a few minutes, you're able to basically set up a set of smith's tools and a set of tinker's tools.
Cool.
Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna pocket those if that's cool with everybody.
Wait,
Yeah,
does
go for
that
it.
mean a gnome lives here? Or what?
Could mean an artificer, could mean a gnome,
That's
could mean all
racist,
kinds.
Jamie.
Oh my god, you can't just go around assuming people are goblins. Or, yeah.
Is there a door to the rest of this area anywhere nearby?
Nope, this is an isolated room. As you're looking through it, it's got a window to the east that's kind of like flapping open with the stone, with the shutters. But other than that, it's got the door that you've busted in with your mall cop authorities.
So, is the scale like a human scale or is it smaller?
Wait, scale?
Yeah,
Height.
like the size of the
Oh,
room.
table wise?
Yeah, or the ceiling, the doors, all this stuff. Is it like a regular humanoid size or is it like smaller, which would make it seem more likely to be from smaller people?
Yeah, like how little people have kitchens that are only like 2 foot high counters and stuff.
It's definitely a faint sized apartment.
And we also still have
Probably not
human
enough.
sized poo. I mean, Jamie and Zap, I mean, Kansas, I know who Jamie is. Kansas and Zaps, I mean, I don't know how big you guys poop, but I'm pretty sure that was normal person sized.
After all the rations and meat, I'm pretty sure it's about the size of my head at this point. Let's try the other door.
All right, but the thing is, though, is I'm going to have to go across that walkway. Go on, Jamie.
That is just so stupid.
Well, yeah, but what I'm thinking is, I'm here now, I've made it, and it was a fiasco getting up, so I think I should be up with you, but I don't think I should be making my way through with you. I should probably be on guard, on lookout at the entrance, just prone, waiting, watching, listening, let you guys explore, then shout if you need me. But yeah, we've got to get across from here to the next room. So if you guys want to go ahead and I'll try and get across somehow.
Yeah. Kansas, why don't you try to go to the other door, kind of over here where he's got it marked, see if you can get in, and I'll follow you.
Roll an intelligence for me.
Who?
All of you.
Okay.
So I feel like Faint is the least likely to walk over there anyways. But the other two, a window works perfectly fine as a way into a place, as does a door. And the door is in the worst shape part of this little walkway you all are on. Try a window.
Yeah.
Is there glass? Is there glass in the window?
At this point, I think all of them are broken out. They're basically like open storm shutters that are kind of flapping in the wind. So I would say it's pretty legitimate to say that all of them are broken if there's any glass remaining.
This isn't a very good house, then.
The place is literally rotting before your eyes. So yeah, that's a definitely good assessment.
I give Kansas my cloak, which means it's the first time you'd have seen Faint without his cloak, so you just see him with his warm clothes on underneath, his daggers everywhere that he doesn't even use anymore, and holsters all over him, and say, throw this over the broken glass so you don't cut yourself on the way in. And I just stay prone on the floor.
I felt like the snowshoe idea was a good way to disperse yourself.
Okay. I mean, I'm not gonna hate. I'll take it 100%. I was just a bit nervous, so that was all.
Yeah, I think it's perfectly fine for you to still have that idea that where the snowshoes are good, it's better to be prone, but it's up to you. Like that's still purely up to you to play.
Okay, well, I'll move with the snowshoes on them, but I'll penalize myself and say I'm walking at half speed because I'm being very careful.
Yeah, I'm gonna walk after Kansas here in front of Faint and just kind of follow her through the window.
So as you crawl in, let me just get a perception from everybody as you all get into this room for the first time. There's definitely the smell of burnt wood, something rancid, burnt flesh, burnt hair, whatever burned in this place was pretty horrific, and it lingers, despite being like there's being some level of kind of like a flow of wind still crossing through this place. Inside of this room in total, though, you do see that there seems to be the charred marks directly ahead of you, and you can see some parts of charred bones. It would appear that there is a body directly in front of that window. There's a hearth to the east of you. Doesn't seem to have been lit for some time here. Um, Smell of grapes, maybe some vinegar around the room. You can see holes in the roof. You can see parts of the roof are actually collapsing in this area. You can feel the actual wind. Parts of the furniture, the table, there's bookcases in here, seem to have been burnt. The walls kind of north of you seem to have been burnt. And seems to be a frost covered orb kind of sitting next to this creature. That while it has some kind of circular shape to it that is almost uniform. Within, there's a dark black ebony piece of stone inside of it. It's hard to tell. And then there's a little piece of a book, just the spine, maybe even less than just the spine. You'd have to get closer to actually take a look at that.
Can I move closer to the orb without touching it and try to make like an Arcana check on it to see if I can tell what's going on with it?
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't bloody touch it.
You can move yourself to where you would want to be, and you can certainly make a check. I'm not sure what doing so, looking at something without touching it, will do.
That's a good point. Can I tell it's magical in nature at all without having any spells or anything up?
Roll the Arcana. That was my way of saying it's going to be a high DC. Approaching it, you can see that there seems to be writing of sorts around the outside of it on the metallic portions. It wouldn't be absurd for you to say this seems to be some sort of invention, perhaps somewhere between being magical and being like a mundane creation, but you can't really tell. Kansas, are you still at the window? Faint, are you still in the workshop?
No, sorry, I was saying I came in. I didn't want to move when we were talking.
Well, if everything looked safe, then I would move in carefully as well.
I mean, we don't know what it is. We don't know what it does. So it's something we leave alone for now. Might be something we let our friend know about, and when we tell him about the lodge being here.
Well, I don't think there's anything worth taking away from here. I just don't quite feel good about being in a building that's above the ground like this. Doesn't feel very sturdy. So I say we leave and tell the wizard that we found it.
Well, there's a couple more rooms to check, and I pull my cloak off the window ledge and put it back on. If you guys want to keep exploring, I'll keep watch by the window and see if anything comes our way. You might want to tell your defender to hide a little bit, maybe.
All right, I'll go look.
Just stay together, but apart for weight reasons.
All right, so I'll go look and see what's in this square over here.
I'm having a serious internal debate with myself on whether or not Zaps would just pick this fucking thing up because he's obsessed with new magical items and inventions and stuff like that.
It definitely does seem like a shiny thing that an artificer would want to examine more closely.
Yeah, fuck it. Friends, stay back. I'm gonna grab this damn thing.
What is Kansas doing right now?
I'm over on the right side trying to figure out what's in this large black square.
There is a hearth directly south of you and a wall.
Oh. Okay, so I have to like go through whatever doorway that is. Okay, so go up
There's
here.
a hall to the north, yeah. You can see that there's a door that leads to the north of you. about 10 feet to your east, and then a door that leads to the south about 15 feet to your east.
Okay, so I go this way.
And Zaps is waiting for them to move away from you before you pick that thing up.
Yeah, I'm just gonna make sure everybody's got a little distance from me before I pick it up. And like I said, I'm just gonna kind of yell out a warning that I'm grabbing this thing.
It's gonna explode.
Let me get a perception check from Kansas and from Faint. So as he yells out to the two of you that he's going to pick it up, each of you are going to watch as he reaches out, and the moment his hand comes in contact with this thing, the stone is no longer black. It immediately goes a white hot yellow. And for just a blip of a second, there is a horrendous fireball that is going to rip through this room.
I knew this wasn't going to end well.
And there's going to be a second charred spot on the ground as, let's see, roll a Constitution saving throw for me. Oh, that's good. You may have a chance of not dying. You are going to take 72, 107, 53 damage. How many hit points do you have?
21.
21?
I'm dead.
So as this thing turns into a white hot fireball, you're going to see as the orb turns back into a black stone and the circle drops to the ground, do, 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 do. And there's just a rain of ashes from where Zap stood. And this is kind of a weird moment where I have to kind of separate things. So, Faint and Kansas, if you two wouldn't mind taking a quick break here, we're going to have a few moments where I am going to steal Zaps away, and we're going to have a private conversation.
Sure.
Okay. Good luck, mate.
Alrighty, are you here?
Oh yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so the moment you pick this thing up, you're going to see the start of it glow yellow. And then as soon as it becomes like a white hot light, your eyes are kind of blinded for a second before you kind of look around and you're in just a dark black void. Takes you a moment looking around, and all of a sudden you see that there is a gigantic head, probably about 8 times the size of yourself, with big fiery red eyes, and it kind of looks at you. Excellent. Ah, finally, a servant. Ah, it's good that you've come. Now, back to work, back to work. What's your name? Never mind, I don't need a name. Come this way, come this way.
Obviously, I'm following the giant head because Zaps probably thinks he's fucking dead at this point, and this is God.
Make a wisdom check for me. Excellent. So as the head ushers you this way, there's nowhere to go. you're in a black void. There's you and this head, and kind of looking around, there's not really anything to kind of make of this. But after a few moments, the head kind of twists back around to you as if you all have traveled somewhere, and you're still right where you were. And you're going to look over it, and it kind of like looks over the orb is all of a sudden going to kind of show up inside of this black void as the head like starts to focus into that area, and you're going to very quickly recognize, oh, that's the orb. And after a few minutes of kind of figuring things out, you're in the same space, just in a different plane. And while you don't necessarily know enough to understand what that means, the orb is there, and motioning towards it to try to grab it. You can't touch it. You can't affect it. But it gives you enough of an idea that on some level you start to see at that point that the cabin is forming around you. And my apologies. It's enough that you can begin to understand that you are still inside of the cabin, but you no longer have a physical form. Um, Minutes go by, and you start to eventually see, this is where we're going to have you kind of sitting quietly while the other two are deciding things. But basically, you're going to start to see how they react to you catching fire and turning to ash. Um, Sadly, I am not a precog, so I don't know how they're going to react here. So there's going to be that certain level of like the interplay of you are effectively without body inside of the cabin right where you were, and that will eventually give you a pretty good sense that this head that you are talking to is probably the wizard that you just saw burnt up on the ground, who was previously touching this orb. Um, and that's kind of where we're going to play things here. Um, it is on some level, part of what I'm hoping you gather here is you can't necessarily change things, but that doesn't mean that you can't try. So, on some level, while they're interacting with things, if you have an idea that you want to try to pass to them, um, let me know. I think it might be best if it's at least via messages at first. But we'll have to kind of see how we can play this. This is far easier to do in an in-person game than it is online. But on some level, I don't necessarily want them to understand that your character is entirely still present here. You just no longer have a body at present. And that's kind of where we're going to pick things back up.
Okay. Do you want me to just like direct message you over Discord whenever I have an
Exactly.
idea? Okay. And last question. I can see them moving around the cabin and stuff, but I'm stuck in that same exact spot, right?
No. Like, you are actually a very intelligent creature. I don't think you necessarily need to know this for any particular reason, but you are on the ethereal plane at this point. Intelligent creatures actually excel at being in the ethereal. When you think about something, you are going to arrive there. There's no effort to moving. It's literally like, oh, I want to be by the orb, and all of a sudden the orb is going to be in front of you. I need to be by Faint, and all of a sudden Faint is going to be beside you. You don't have any spatial location. You have a mental location. And that will cater quite well to what Zaps needs to do. But like somebody who is stupid, very low intelligence, moves extremely slow in the ethereal. Somebody who is quite intelligent moves quite quickly. So it's one of those things where, no, in the long run, you're going to find out that you are stuck in the black cabin. You can't leave this place. But as long as you're here, you're not really limited by anything at that point.
Okay. And can I actually affect the physical at all? Like Could I move
And
a
that's
book or something?
precisely what I mean. You have to try those things. So when you have different ideas about different things like that, you can let me know. But again, kind of as things kind of progress here, you're going to basically start to gain more and more information from Macreadus, who is this head. He is basically ordering you around to try to help fix this device that he has been creating. And in the long run, he killed himself and he can't affect it anymore. But he's also too kind of cocky to recognize that you are in the exact same situation. And it's almost like your duty to try to find a way to get the two of them, good luck, to be able to fix this thing.
So if they leave me here, I'm re-rolling a new character pretty much, right?
Oh, yeah. If they bug out, yep, you're definitely creating a new character.
Motherfucker. Okay, let's get it on. I'm ready.
So if you want to take yeah, I'm gonna have to take a break for sure. So I'm gonna drag you back into that channel and then we'll take a break if they're still there. But at present, this is again one of those weird things where I'm kind of asking you not to really participate for a few moments. But that's where, like, that's part of why I wanted to, like, kind of stress, like, yeah, you're trying to do that, like, poltergeist ghost thing of, like, there's frosty glass around this building. There's snow, like, in corners. This building is set up to be haunted, and that's what you're supposed to do here. You know what I mean?
I've got a fucking awesome idea already. And I will not say a word in the chat. I'll direct message. What time do you want me back?
I I didn't actually pay attention to when it kind of went down. If you need 10 minutes, go for it. But I'd say if we can try to keep it below that. But again, I didn't really pay attention to when this kind of went down. Um,
It's been about 5 minutes, so let me take a leak and grab a
Yeah.
pop real quick, and I'm good to go.
that's like exactly where I'm at. So
All right, bet.
Josh, Jamie, are the two of you back right now?
Yeah.
I'm actually going to ask you all to do something a little bit weird and very experimental. Can the two of you click on Chase and mute him so you cannot hear Chase?
All right, one sec.
Okay.
And then let me know when you've got that set.
Did
Yep,
it.
he's muted.
Chase, can you say something?
Can you guys hear me?
Excellent. So I think that removes one of the hurdles. So we're going to progress forward with this if everybody is all set. Kansas, Faint, what do you do when you see your friend catch fire and incinerate into ash?
Oh fuck! Oh fuck! Oh fuck! Oh shit! I told him not to fucking touch it. Have you got diamonds? Can you revive him?
I don't think there's anything there.
Where the fuck is he?
I think he was vaporized.
I want to
I
walk
guess
over to the
this
wall
explains what
nearest
happened to the other
Jamie.
person that was here. Are you sure he's not just like gone somewhere else? I mean, this is a magical fucking place.
No, well, there was a big ball of light, and I think the fireball kind of incinerated him.
Oh yeah, maybe so brazen about it. He's our friend. Fucking, he's just fucking gone.
I don't think you can put that back together. Um, hey, see if the dog is responding.
I look out the window and go, "Hey, dog, defender."
If I recall, the defender is going to go inanimate when he dies.
Ah shit. What the fuck do we do?
I
Got
don't
any
think there's
paper?
much we can do.
Any papers, any documentation around here explains what that thing might be? Don't fucking touch it.
You couldn't pay me to touch that.
It's too old.
Do we see anything left of Zap's, like, boots, maybe?
There's a nice healthy coating of ash in the area, but no, there is nothing left.
Okay.
I don't know. There's no paper around here. Nothing. No kind of documentation that would explain it.
From where you're at in the room, you don't see any evidence of any paperwork.
I carefully, slowly walk over to this door to the top left corner then.
Make a dexterity saving throw.
Oh no.
Oh, hang on. So it's
So
16.
16. So when you walk over to that area, the floor beneath you is going to fall out. You are going to land with your torso and your head looking down this cliff below you, your legs and your feet catching the snow. You're going to take 1 bludgeoning damage from your fall as you land prone in the snow, but you probably just barely avoided dying to falling off of that cliff. But you are now outside of the cabin, having fallen through the floor.
Right, I think we're finished with this whole cabin thing. So I will now try to get back out the window and down the stairs like a normal person.
Take some of his ashes in a vial or something first. I don't fucking know.
Well, I think kind of like in a thin layer.
Can you heal his ashes, maybe?
All right, I will try and scrape together some of the ashes and put them in a vial before I leave.
Well, before you do, try and heal the ashes. Maybe I know it's a spell slot, but give it
You
a go.
can't heal the ashes. There's no body attached.
I'll just try it. Fuck it. See what happens.
I'd have to be like a really, really high level wizard. I mean, I don't even think they could do it. They need a body to work with.
Well, just tap the ashes, healing word, whatever. Give it. What's the worst that can happen? Nothing.
Make an intelligence for me, Jamie. You're vaguely sure that arc druids can indeed do something in situations like this, but you can't think of what exactly it is. But in general, you know enough to know that without a body, can't really do anything for someone.
Yeah, there's nothing even to focus on.
What type of druid are you?
Not that great of one. Foresty druid?
No, not an arc then.
Nah, that's like level. Fine, to make you feel better, I will cast Cure Wounds on some general, I don't know, in this area.
Nothing at all
Well,
happens, but you can burn the spell slot.
There we go.
it's worth trying.
So, Faint, are you climbing back up into the cabin, or are you just staying down there?
I don't think I can.
And
Could I
Kansas, have
outline
you
where his
left the
ashes are?
cabin? What was that, Faint?
Is that yellow outline where his ashes are scattered?
No, that's the hole through the ground. That when you walk through there, like all of those boards just gave way, disappeared, gone.
Okay.
By the time we finish with this place, we'll just be able to report where it was.
I don't even know what we do right now. There's got to be some way to try and get him. I refuse to believe he's just fucking straight up dead. This place is magical shit. We don't know what that orb does. It could have just been him being teleported far away or something.
Kansas, as you leave the cabin, and as the two of you are kind of having this discussion, like from like above faint and below faint, you just hear like a soft kind of like shaking of wood behind you, almost like a little bit of like a hum, but can't really tell what might be moving, what might be shaking, but something seems to be altered inside of the cabin.
We need to leave.
Why? What's happened?
The air is doing strange things up here.
Well, for all we know, that could be Zaps's ghost walking around trying to get back in his body or some shit.
True,
Or at least look through the window and see what it was.
but there's no body to get back into. I keep telling you. All right, so I'll look in the window before I go. Do I see
Look
anything
inside the
interesting?
window.
Sorry,
Doesn't
what?
appear to be anything.
Oh, okay. Then I'm gonna climb back down.
And when you get back down, what are the two of you doing?
I'm going to tie a piton, I think, just checking. No, tie a crowbar to the end of the rope, and I'm going to throw it through the window like a grappling hook and pull myself back up into the lodge.
Why?
There's got to be something in there. We're not done. There's rooms unexplored. There's weird, mysterious things happening behind you that you heard. There's an orb that we don't know what's going on. I know we've got a contact that we need to tell the lodge is here, but I'm not happy with. I just refuse to believe Zaps is gone at this point. I've seen magical
Oh,
people do some
you
shit.
don't necessarily have to like climb yourself up there. Again, part of my point is that the floorboards are weak here, and it was part to allude to the fact that somebody was likely to fall off the cliff if you guys walk around this place normally. Um, if you walk up the stairs, it's going to be difficult with your snowshoes on, but you're safer on like all fours or with snowshoes. You know what I mean? Like you can walk back up to the window. You just have to be either in your snowshoes or all fours or doing both.
All right, I'll do both then. Like Harry from what's it called? Home Alone when he's going up the stairs.
Gotcha. So as you climb back in, what are you thinking?
I'm listening out. Do I hear anything? I'm assuming Kansas said that she, I know she did mention that the air was moving, but I'm assuming that I get a better idea of what she was talking about.
There's definitely like a weird kind of like wooden hum almost happening inside of here. You might liken it to almost like the sound of like drums, perhaps. Maybe something like, I don't know if a didgeridoo exists inside of this world, but like that like sound of like movement through a long wooden pipe, how it kind of like is a booming, just very low vibration.
Mm. Is it just the whole lodge itself, or is it going from a particular direction?
Roll a perception. It seems to just be a thing about the lodge itself at this point.
About how far away am I from the orb?
It's about 20 or so feet to the north of you.
Don't touch it.
Mm.
I have no idea how to do that, Mara.
I'm going to climb back out the window and I'm going to shoot an arrow at it.
Nothing happens.
Mm. Hey, Kansas, why don't you ask your panther to give it a touch?
What?
The orb, in case it's, life for a life or something, get the panther, blow it up. Maybe you'll come out of it again or some shit. I don't fucking know.
I think that's left for things that are much wiser than us, and we just shouldn't do anything with it.
At the very meta level of the game, this game is for you all to play. You all are the players.
It looks like there's a room. Is that an entrance here? Sorry, to the dark room.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't gone that way to really know, but you at least can recognize that there is a hallway in that northeast. I think essentially Zaps and Kansas were the only ones who saw that there's actually the hall with those two doors.
Alright, fuck it. I'm getting desperate trying to think of ways to save Zap, so I'll try that room. I'll go really slowly, staying close to the walls.
Gotcha. So wandering around that corner, you'll see that there is a not a window, a door on the northeast. I have just a little bit too little revealed to see that there is also a door on the southeast of you.
Alright, I'll peer around it. Is it open or do I have to open the door first?
All of the doors are closed.
Alright,
So
from with
going
my
into
back
the
against
north
the
room.
wall, I'll push it open. No, the one's to the south first. With my back against the wall, so in this direction, my back's against that wall, and I'll use my right hand to just turn the handle and push the door open from this side with my back against the wall still.
So as you push open that door, faint, you're going to have a stiff wind kind of blow over you. You see like a little bit of glass like fall from a window to the east. But other than that, it seems to be an old abandoned like bedroom. There doesn't seem to be much other than snow inside of this room and a lot of old things that have degraded with much time.
Alright, I'll try the door to the north
And
of me
I
then.
lied because I read the one from the north room. So we're going to pretend that you entered the north room first because that's the one with the broken window that's been ignored by time. As
Okay then.
you go into the southern room, you're going to see this one actually has fresher things around it. Everything seems to still be damp. The window is still broken to the east, but you can see that it's like nailed shut with scraps of wood to kind of keep the shutter itself sealed against the window, as well as kind of like make up those spaces where the holes in the glass have. But there's a little desk, there's some blank sheets of parchment, a set of cartographer's supplies or calligrapher's supplies, and you can see the hearth probably has ashes from a few days, if not like a week ago, kind of thing.
So I'll move towards it. I want to check if there's anything written on. I know it says blank parchment, but is there anything that isn't blank? Anything that's got text on it?
No, going through here, this all seems to be unimportant things.
Oh, okay, then Out I go, back against the wall, getting super desperate, avoiding the orb. I'm going to go towards this door, and then back against the wall, push it open again as well.
Let me get a investigation from you, actually.
Sure, 1 sec. 9. A mighty 9.
My bad. Once again, I lied. Kind of in like a little bit of a hindsight as you're leaving, you're going to see that there is a piece of parchment that's actually like crumbled beneath the fireplace and is partially burnt. And you can discover this letter. Very quickly, you will be able to see that there are a note to Macreadus, who you understand to be the wizard who was initially coming up into this land. If you all scroll down to the bottom, you can also see the text of it instead of in that cursive.
Oh yeah, helps.
Yeah, that definitely helps. 10 towns, decent meal. It'll be fish.
This fish is literally a delicacy in the rest of the world.
Not in a place that only has it.
It's almost as if being trapped in the Arctic is a horrendous thing to have happen to you.
All right, I'll say for thematic reasons, I haven't read it yet. I've just stuffed it in my pocket because I think that I'm trying to move as fast as possible to maybe somehow find a way to help Zap. So I started reading. I read the first few lines of it, and I'll just say I'll read it later for reasons for what's it called, continuity. But okay, so I'll check this room now. That's just to the north of me. Same again, back against the wall to try and, because I imagine in any building the floorboards will be stronger by a wall. So. I'm also thinking that if the floorboards fall, I could grab onto something if I've got something nearby to hold.
And Kansas, you're still full coward mode outside? Just like, fuck this
Oh,
place,
yeah.
fuck my
Oh,
friends?
cautious. We like to say cautious.
As long as you spell cautious, COWARD, excellent.
Yep. Alive. I spell it alive.
So as you head into this room, you're going to see another room filled with some bookcases, fireplace to the east of you. Damn, I should have just put the letter in there anyways. All across the walls, there's paper like pinned to the walls, and there's little red pieces of strings that are drawn from one paper to the next, and it's just a collage of this paperwork. Roll another intelligence for me. Arcana, if you have it, but I don't believe you do.
I'm -2 on both.
Oh, crushing it. Yeah, there's so many pieces of red strings. It's just a whole fuck all of, yeah, that's way too confusing.
Oh, great. Somebody in here has been
Brilliant.
practicing needlecraft. Someone's been trying to make a sweater in here. Fucking useless. Next room.
Well, one second, my bad. You're also going to see that there is a vaguely kind of human size. It's a little bit smaller than a human um, creature that seems to be face down on the ground, and it is unmoving. Um, Getting close enough, but not necessarily even having to touch it. It is pretty clear that this thing is made out of clay. If you want any more information, you will have to go a little further. But at present, if you are ready, you can leave this room.
No, actually, I'm going to go a bit closer towards it. Does it look anything like a kobold?
No, no, no.
Okay, well, there is that theory.
And then going to the original room where you fell through the floor.
Yeah, but obviously going far away from the hole, back against the wall where the floorboards should be a little bit stronger.
So, opening that room up, you're going to have a stringent smell of wine and kind of vinegar pass over things. And as things kind of go by, you have a pretty solid sense that this is like a wine storage.
All right, got it. I'm going to try one last thing. I'm still psychically connected with Zaps, I guess. It probably won't work, but this is a Hail Mary at this point. I psychically say to Zaps, "Are you still alive?"
Post the link for your psychic connection. I'm pretty sure he is too far away to communicate with you.
Yeah, I'm not expecting this to work, but this is.
Can they still not hear me?
I think it's infinite range, but I don't know if it's the same plane, if that's what you're thinking.
Correct. They cannot hear you right now. They should still have you muted.
Fuck, I hope this works. Jamie's gonna fucking kill me.
And though it's 1 mile.
Still technically in the same location,
Yeah,
just in a
different plane probably won't work.
Well, it's not even that. It's 1 mile. It's the max radius for whispers. Doesn't say anything about planes.
I mean, I can see him. I'm like right here.
That's a difficult one. But I'd say
If it helps, let's say if he's on a different plane, I mean, unless it's what's it called? The plane where they float around at the same time. Any other plane, let's say no. But if he is, where I can't remember what it's called now, but where they're like occupying the same space but on a different like dimension, then I think that's the only one where I would probably think it would be a fair call.
I would say while you're trying to contact him, he can have advantage on his next roll here. So let me get one more con from you, Zaps. So while you're reaching out to Zaps, you're going to have some sense of his presence actually connect with your brain. And in the snow at your feet, you're going to see. Oh, what was that line? It was absolutely perfect.
Help, you fucking idiot.
Yes, help you fucking idiot. Written down in the snow.
Well, that's
And
not
like
very
you're
helpful.
watching it be written. Not that it's like written in the snow. When you're reaching out to him, you're watching it show up and there's nothing there writing it. Something Zaps is clearly somewhere else writing in the snow while you are connecting with him mentally.
All right, I'm gonna go back into the room with all the documents again, carefully, slowly. And I see on this map there's a bunch of shit on the desk. I know I'm gonna just say that my character's an idiot and didn't think anything of the string. So is there anything on this desk that I can see that for rummaging through it that looks remotely linked to this situation?
So at this point, let me have Faint unmute Chase, so you can actually hear Zaps, and we'll kind of continue forward there. Jamie, still trying to survive? Still outside doing the
Yeah.
coward thing?
I'm gonna assume that at some point Fate says something because that seems pretty cool.
He's busy saving your friend, so I'm gonna hope that he doesn't tell you. I can't believe how quickly you gave up on Zaps. So while you are inside of this room, I think the first thing that you're going to see is like almost puffs of ash kind of coming out of the actual fireplace over there. But Zaps, you can also take the whisper off of the rolls to me. Let me get an intelligence from you, Zaps. So just as a reminder, I'm not going to play like the two different sides of things at this point here. So you all will be hearing stuff that you don't necessarily have any knowledge of. But
Okay.
Zaps, when you are finally kind of given access into this room, that like black void will just kind of extend from that door. And entering in there for the first time, kind of right next to Faint, you're going to start to see all of these documents, and the gigantic head is just going to start to kind of pinpoint around to you. This is all of the blueprints that Macreadus used to create his device. And as he's going over everything, makes a lot of sense to you. You're able to kind of figure out the different things. He used this black rock that's kind of mysterious to make the center point from which the rings actually power the device from the outside. And looking over everything, you have a solid understanding of what this does. It is meant to control the weather, and theoretically could end the rime of the Frost Maiden to bring back sun to Icewind Dale. Right now, you are still communicating, essentially drawing in the ash. But what kind of thoughts does Zaps have as he's going over these documents that are effectively the blueprints for creating the device?
I just
Is
want to
there
say as well. Sorry, just a quick. I want to say as well. My next plan when I got in here, by the way, before I didn't want to interrupt, was to throw Ash on the floor, and then ask for him to draw an arrow or a symbol psychically towards anything in here that you think might be useful. But you carry on. But that was what I'll do afterwards to say that's what my thing was when I came in here.
okay?
That's been one more second. My bad, Chase. That's been what he's rolled so many times to see if he could affect the snow in all of these different rooms. It's been absolutely hilarious watching how often he can roll. Even that last one with advantage. If it wasn't with advantage, it would have been like the umpteenth roll that was below 10. He's had one roll that was over 10.
Doing well. You must have my luck, mate.
Yeah, no shit. And then fucking, I thought you guys were gonna bail for a second. I literally messaged Mara and was like, I'm fucked.
No, I just stand, but no, I was never. As soon as I fell through that, I was like, well, I'm getting back in immediately. I'm not letting you go.
Okay,
Jamie
so
said, I gotta go. And I'm like, Chase, you gotta roll a new character.
yeah, literally. That
Hey,
was
I'm
my
waiting
first
for the
thought.
house to completely crumble.
Okay. I want to look
Still
through
waiting for it, in fact. And who puts a house at the edge of a cliff anyway?
Rich
ig-
people.
ignoring Jamie. Is there any
This
in
is
here?
not a rich people's house. It is falling apart and cold.
Can she hear me?
She
No,
may
she got
not
back
have
on the.
actually unmuted you.
Okay. Tell
Oh,
her.
I never did unmute him. Oops.
No, it was just me who got told to unmute him.
Jamie, yeah, I just want you to go back into the house with Kansas so you can read the ashes to actually be able to hear Zaps. Because effectively that's what Faint is like hearing Zaps through is him slowly manipulating. And at this point, Faint, you kind of understand most of the myth around this house is probably related to this fact that your friend is now like haunting this house.
I got it.
Okay. So
All
Jamie,
right. So, since Faint is still clomping around upstairs, I guess I'll go back in to see what he's doing.
Faint looks like he's finger painting with ash, but finally, what are you doing, Zaps?
you said I
Can
looked
I
through.
unmute him now?
Yes, please, because you keep interrupting him.
Can you hear me now, Jamie? Hello.
I can hear you.
Yeah,
I'm
I can.
interested in hearing what you have to say.
Okay. So you said I looked through all these documents while I'm doing my sign language to Faint, right?
Yeah, effectively at this point, you can understand this is the actual workshop where Macreadus created the item. And everything plastered around here are effectively the blueprints for creating this.
Okay. Can I see any inherent flaws with this thing that caused it to fucking teleport my ass to hell?
At that point, I don't really think you have a reason to understand it that deeply.
Okay, you said there's a clay golem in here, right?
Something of that sort, yes.
Okay, I'm gonna turn to the big giant head that I assume is still around me and look at him and go, "Do you have any ideas on how the hell these morons can get us out of here?"
Just gonna look to you and he's like, oh no, we're dead. Life is over for us, and we can rest easy in knowing that with the creation of my summer star, all of Icewind Dale will no longer be under the thumb of that frosty bitch. But just remember, at very least, you can be a footnote in my fame. The Summer Star, created by Macreadus and his minions.
When I find a way out of here, I'm bringing a priest to exorcise your ass, you giant fucking forehead, and I'm gonna turn back to the ash. So I can tell this is the summer star, right?
Yeah, when he calls it the Summer Star, it's very clear that the object you picked up was his creation. All of these blueprints are for creating that item.
Okay. Can I write in the ash to Faint and pretty much tell him to find a way to get that star into this room without touching it? Or is there a way I can manipulate it here, like in the ether?
What are you getting at?
I want to try to shove that thing in that golem and take it over. Kind of like I did with my constructs. Use the gem as like a fucking construct for my soul.
What are you going to try to tell Faint to do? And what kind of ideas do you all think you're going to do to move this thing?
My
I'll get
idea will
mage
be
hands.
you can use
Don't-
mage hands. If you get the message, then mage
Yeah.
hand will work better.
If I
But I
ever
was
get a
gonna say,
message.
but my thing will be to tie a peat onto the end of a rope and then feed the peat on with weight through one of those, because it had like two outer rings, didn't it? That were like 90 degrees to each other. to drop the heavy weight through, and then pick the piton back up again, and then use that to drag the holding both ends of the rope to drag the orb in.
Yeah, I mean, you guys can look at it again inside of your handouts to see what it looks like, but
Yeah. So but yeah, so from what I saw the photo of it, yeah, was to it had two like outer rings, didn't it? That were almost like could be used as handles, I guess, with the stone on the inside. So I'd use the weight to drop it through the thing, and then to hold the piton in one hand and rope in the other, and just drag it in without touching it, while staying a distance from it.
so mage hand and like a yo-yo, or y'all just doing one or the other?
Well, if Jamie's come back in, then I'd say yeah, go ahead, mage hand.
Yeah, I thought Kansas came into the room.
I'm in
So yeah,
now.
sure.
I had to climb up the stairs first.
Kansas just kind of laughing at you as you struggle to get your little piton threaded rope through this thing. She'll just lift it with a little bit of a mage hand.
So what do you want done with this? And
Try
I'm
to.
not touching it any closer than this than I'm doing now.
I don't even know if the idea is going to work. So just bring it in the room,
All right. So
and I'm gonna write it out in the ash, explaining to you guys that this star was created by a mage and that it controls the weather, basically.
Roll a performance.
There's no way you're fitting all that in Ash.
Shit.
So you can kind of pick up that this was created by the mage. Other than that, you are still going to be limited by the fact that he has no body and no ability to affect things physically. But like you can still kind of pass on like little bits of the information, kind of thing. So as they start to carry the object around, Macreadus is going to look to you, Zaps, and is like, "Excellent, excellent. Now, just get them to activate it. One more time. For either one would do. Just have them touch it. Turn it on. Try to change the sun so it can shine bright overhead. I assure you, it's perfectly safe. Nobody could possibly get harmed by it."
Can I write in the ash to have Jamie make the panther touch it?
it's an interesting idea.
Do another performance.
Big money, no whammy.
See as the ash kind of like writes out like panther.
I'll leave the room.
All right. I will direct the panther to touch the ball.
I want to be near that thing as soon as that panther touches it, and if it's some kind of way for me to swap spots with it, I want to do it.
Nothing happens.
Panther doesn't set it off.
I'm going to turn around to the giant head and ask him what the clay golem was about.
Oh, that was my servant who was just a little fellow who was around to help me in my work, and very useful. Not as good once I arrived here.
Yeah, I have no fucking idea what to do at this point.
Did I find anything when I was rummaging through those notes all that time? By the way?
You all already have everything that you need to solve this problem. You just need to notice it.
Let me read that note then. Finally, I'll take it out of my pocket and I'll read it. And I'm going to find it.
I'm gonna write in the ash just pyramid wizard trying to get Faint's attention about summoning the other wizard.
I wonder what the summer star is. Is it like the northern star?
Do I need to roll a performance or anything like that?
Nobody's in that room with you.
All right, I'm gonna wherever Faint is, I'm gonna walk by him, try to find a pile of snow, and start like gesturing towards the other room in it.
Just scooping handfuls of snow and throwing it in the room.
Okay, same thing I tried to do in the other room. I'm gonna, try to draw out a pyramid and a wizard, trying to, basically gesture to him to summon the other wizard from the pyramid if he can.
Alright, so it's read the note. Okay, so I understand now. The orb is some kind of device to. Okay. Would we say that I interpret his thing as either go in the room and or to ask the wizard from Thingy Town to come?
Can be purely up to you. What do you think it means?
Well, the pyramid thing would throw me off a bit. I'd understand two wizards, I think, and from that, I think that's enough to talk about how I think I'd interpret it in two ways. Of there's a story of two wizards being involved in this, and that there's I think, or is it me in Kansas? And then I think after probably, I don't know, 10 minutes of trying to interpret it, I'd probably go, probably need to ask the other wizard. I think at this point we're out of ideas. Rather than me interpreting the message as such, I think I'd just come to the conclusion that I need to get him to come down. So I'll use the diplomat's pouch, and I write a note and put it in that goes to him, right? So I'll use the desk in here, and using the desk, I'll write a note saying, "Found Black Lodge." Was it? Yeah. I won't say that. Sorry, I'll say, "Found what you want." We're in shit. Wasn't in this forest again?
We're near Lonelywood.
Yeah. So near Lonely Woods, in forest. Found the lodge. Found the thing you're looking for. Need your help. Also found inside what you're looking for, and then I'll put it in the pouch to send to.
Roll a persuasion.
14. tough one, 14, because it's not an obvious fail, but at the same time, it's not a what's the Americans saying? That is a bingo.
What?
That's a phrase you Yanks use, right?
The hell did you just say?
That is a
I can
bingo.
only be capped by saying that's a phrase you Yanks use, right? Like, that's absolutely perfect. It's the same level. I've had people like walk up to like an English guy at the bar on like July 4th and like offer him a cup of tea. And I'm like, ooh, that's harsh.
Get it in the sea.
I feel like it's that same level of like, why? Um so you wait 15 minutes, 20 minutes are gonna go by. Are you all just sitting here doing nothing as time just kind of goes by? Like, what are you doing after you write this message and put it into the diplomat's pouch?
I'd ask Kansas to check and wait out the window, and then I continue rummaging through the papers looking for anything useful.
All
I'm
right,
looking for
I'll look out
signs
the
of
window.
justice.
I'm gonna try to. I can't even touch the orb, can I?
Nope.
I'm gonna write in the ash, make Jamie touch it.
I do not want to explode. I am not touching anything.
Did everybody read the letter in the burnt paperwork?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not getting anything out of it.
Nothing at all.
So
Summer
my
star?
interpretation. So from what I've picked up from it is that the board with the string on it is something which is the like putting together the theory behind it. The table is blueprints about designing it, and I know that when it was touched, it changed and glowed, and then went back to how it was before. In my opinion, implying it was recharged. But from the note, I'm guessing the summer star is a device which can change the weather around it. But I think that knowing, being in character rather than being playing an intelligent character, I think that Faint's instinct to this would be that whereas he knows that there is something that could potentially be done with it to bring back Zaps, all I know currently is that touching it causes an explosion that kills you.
On some
So,
level, the problem with doing puzzles is that they are challenging you as players, not your characters. That is always a part of doing puzzle stuff. Is it still has to be played by you as characters. As long as you don't have meta knowledge that you know how to solve it, you don't have to try to stop yourself from being able to think of it. But when you all
okay.
look at the summer star, it's the picture that's called gyroscopic object, and you read that note. Nobody has anything to take away from those two things.
So the symbols around the outside the rings, do they pertain to different months or elements or weather or something?
You could do an Arcana check.
Also, -2.
Yeah, looking over them, it's not quite enough where you can kind of figure out what they do. Um, I think at this
Do I-
point you have a understanding from what Zaps has written in the ash that the wizard was trying to control the weather.
Okay, so do I see anything that's similar to those symbols on it, on any of the notes, or on the board with the string around it?
Yeah, I mean, once you're looking close enough at it, you can definitely see that the blueprints are for creating this thing. But blueprints to Faint are definitely well beyond him. I feel like you rolled like a 1 when you're trying to interpret the blueprints.
It was -1, yeah. So that was the board with the string on it, but I don't know about the blueprints, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the device then, when Zaps touched it, you have to remind me, did it start glowing then, and then it blew up, and then it went faint and didn't recharge, or did it then recharge in some way, or is it, a thing?
Why would Fate know what it means to recharge? You just saw him touch it, and it was almost instantly like white hot, and he was turned to ash.
No, but I was just trying because we're saying, as a player rather than as a character. That's what I'm thinking right now.
Jamie, Chase, either of you have anything between that picture and that letter that gives you any other clues about what you all are trying to do here?
No.
How many runes are there on the outside of it? Are there 10?
There's only 2
Right.
rings around the outside. Try to put the if there is another ring in that place, try to put it on it.
There is not another ring in that place, but there's a lot of material.
I'm gonna try to scribble out in the ash, big ring. Try to make it the star. I'm basically gonna try to explain to him. Try to put another fucking ring on this thing.
3 is better than 2. Y'all need to make a third ring for this.
Never would have got that. Is there anything around here that looks like a third ring?
Again, no, there is not.
Are there any materials?
Metal?
There is indeed plenty of material.
I'm gonna draw hammer and backpack, trying to tell them there are blacksmith and tinker tools in my backpack.
You all would have seen him pick up the tools that are necessary to create this.
All right, I'll pick up the tools, go back into here. It looks like there might be space for a workbench or something, and I'll try and create a third ring. I'll hold a piece of rope up against the object to get a diameter, and then using that as a sort of benchmark, I'll try and use that to forge a ring.
Roll an intelligence for me, Faint. At some point,
Hey,
you're going to construct a third ring. You're going to have to touch it. Are you prepared to touch it?
yeah, go on then.
Nothing happens. All of the energy is discharged.
All
It's
right,
perfectly
fair enough.
safe to touch.
Put the third ring around it.
Yep, I'll slide the third ring around it.
So let me get an insight from you. This can be an advantage as well.
17.
Gotcha. So you're able to, with the idea that you need a third ring, looking over the actual materials, it's kind of connecting those dots as to what you actually are looking to produce here. And it's going to take you some time. You're going to spend quite a bit of time actually producing this, but you can basically start heating that actual hearth up. It is basically set up to actually create a forge or forge levels of heat. But when you are ready, let me get a dexterity check. If you have Arcana proficiency, you can use your Arcana proficiency. But I think without Arcana, it's essentially just a dexterity check.
My loving parents, who I'm very close to still, against the standard rogue trope slash, stereotype, never taught me Arcana. They taught me how to be dexterous, though, so here we go.
Do you have proficiency with Tinkerer's tools? Oh yeah, that's going to crush it.
No.
So over the next, I think it's just under a day kind of thing. Yeah, I think you all will kind of see as the shimmer of the aurora will kind of start to turn, and around the rising of the waning moon, Faint will come close to finishing these. And depending on how you kind of want to spend the next few hours, risking getting tired from exhaustion, or you all can kind of prepare to shelter in what is whatever level of shelter the Black Cabin really is. You kind of have that idea ahead of you, but you have the ring complete. It'll take a little bit more work to actually get it set up on the device, but you kind of have that choice ahead of you. Continue on into exhaustion, or actually like spend the rest of the day like in rest and do it in the morning.
I'm gonna write out rest in the ash as I'm watching him work this shit.
Do I see him right?
Yeah, for what it's worth at this point, over hours of time, it's not really a problem.
Okay. Go on, Kansas. You be little spoon. We're getting in that bed.
What?
You heard.
No, I have no idea what you said.
I said your little spoon. It's rest time.
Something about little spoons.
You are little spoon.
He's basically saying, "Go into the bedroom. You guys are going to take a long rest."
Yeah,
Oh, I don't think it's safe to stay in here.
we're doing it.
I'm going outside and bedding down the snow. It's a bad idea to stay in this house.
All right.
The
You
floor
enjoy
keeps
your
breaking.
hypothermic death. A
It's
password
not like
talk.
it's warmer.
There's a fireplace. We've got fire.
I don't think it's any warmer.
There's a roof. There's walls. Sure, there's a hole in some of the windows, but this is guaranteed to be a lot fucking warmer in here than it is out there.
I
The
don't
only
know.
thing is,
In serious wintertime, start breaking out the windows of your house and tell me how warm that is.
I feel
I'd
like
still
on
be
a
snow.
regular basis, we get to this beautiful view of the horizon ahead of us, and there's nothing but an amazing, like, toboggan sledding course downhill. Everything's going to be easy. And then the group turns around and says, but we could climb higher and make this more difficult.
Go to bed is what he's trying to tell you.
Fine, I'm gonna go to sleep.
Can I choke Kansas out from behind without her expecting
I would
Probably.
love for that to happen, but I gotta go against PvP.
it?
I just don't understand how you can manage to fight against everything every moment. The like one action that you want to do is be like, wait, I've got a safe place to rest. I should go sleep in the wild where something might eat me.
I don't think it's a safe place. The floor keeps falling out, and like my friend just got vaporized to death. It seems inherently unsafe. Like it's safer to be where the bears are.
Yeah, but I touched the orb and it was fine, and I'm wearing snowshoes and you weigh a quarter of what I weigh, so it's fine.
Plus,
You've
I'm a
seen
druid, and I like
you've
woods.
seen a dog that weighs 10 times as much as you fall through the floors. You've seen a elf that weighs 8 times as much as you fall through the floors.
And how was the elf that fat anyway? I thought they were skinny.
He's
Yeah, I
not
feel like
that
I
fat.
might have.
You just don't weigh anything. You're
Yeah,
the
I was gonna
one
say,
person who doesn't have to worry about the floors.
I think as a wood elf, I probably should have made him both a little bit taller and b a little bit lighter. But it is what it is. It's done now, so I'm fine with it. 155 pounds. I have no idea what that is in kilograms. It just seemed like Brock Lesnar's
Yeah,
300 pounds.
I think
I'm
that's
half.
like 63 or 70 kilograms kind of thing.
That's about what I am in real life, I guess, because I haven't weighed
I
myself
think
in
that's
7 years.
probably right. Yeah. It's pretty average, like adult, but elves, it might be high for an elves average. If you don't take it right out of the PHB, there's an actual calculus that basically says if your height is this modifier, your weight should be this way modified. So it gives you, in general, rather average builds instead of like, another European, Jan, when he picked his monk, that monk, he's like describing him as fat as fuck. And like when you actually like do the calculus, it's just like, all right, that's realistically like a beefy monk. But in the long run, he's definitely not like a rolling ball like Jan wanted him to be.
Wasn't he like 3 foot tall?
No, he was regular height. He was maybe like
Oh.
5'5" instead of 5'10", but he was like 220 pounds, which is probably like 80 kilos or something like that, maybe. He was definitely not that heavy, but Jan was like, yeah, I don't know what pounds are. I just picked a weight.
Yeah, I mean, I can sympathize with that. I got a fucking clue what pounds are.
Yeah, so it's just one of those simple things. That's part of like where the calculus actually comes in for those weight classes. But if you all sleep in this actual cabin, just take a
Fine, I'll
long
sleep
rest
in the
and start the
cabin.
next morning.
Long rest it is.
When you all pick up the next morning, it doesn't take long for you to actually finish the construction and have the third ring on this actual piece. Zaps, you unfortunately have no rest because the entire time Macreadus is basically talking in your ear about how 2 rings was enough. It might not be able to hold the power, but that doesn't mean that it needs a third ring. And he's just running on and on about how smart he is and how clearly he knew exactly what he was doing and that there was never any danger in activating this device. The 2 of you are dead. Clearly he's wrong, but clearly he's never going to let that set in. But that's kind of like your night. It doesn't have any effect on you. You don't have a body to get exhausted, but your brain definitely wants to carve itself out of something because you can't get this gigantic head to shut the fuck up.
I'm on the same plane as him, right?
Yes,
We're both made out of the same like material.
you have no material.
I know, but neither does he. So can no material punch no material in the fucking face? Because if so, I'm about to beat the shit out of this motherfucker.
It's more or
great.
less one of those things that you can do something like that, but it has 0 effect.
Dude, nah. A couple hours in, Zaps is just gonna start fucking wailing on him, even though there's no effect, just for the fucking like, what's it called?
It's
The
an
fun
Raise
thing
activity.
raise the
is,
morale.
the fun thing is, though, is as you actually get into this, you also come to the conclusion and the recognition that the more you think about yourself as beating him up and fighting him, the bigger and bigger your fists get. And you start to come to the conclusion you too aren't actually limited by what you are. You might see yourself as Zaps here, but you too could just be a big giant floating head with burning fire eyes. It's all how you imagine yourself. So you can kind of go like Pokemon crazy, turning into like a 60-foot tall kobold if you wanted to. You could turn into Tiamat if you wanted to. It's purely how you kind of envision yourself.
Godzilla Kobold, and I'm gonna just keep smacking this motherfucker around until they wake up, just to raise my morale because he's been pissing me off.
Yeah, so the whole time he talks right through it. There's 0 effect on him. You can definitely take your aggression out like punching a punching bag, but it doesn't actually affect anything on Macreadus. And then eventually, Faint will come out of his meditation, and sometime later, you will have Kansas wake up. And when they are ready, you can finish the Summer Star and do what you would like.
Do I get the third ring on the device?
Indeed. You basically had to quit like prior to that, but it was ready to be mounted.
All right, slot it on, get it in position.
So you can feel the power of this device. It's very much a magical device. It will take you time to attune to it, but when you are ready, you can attune to it. And if you would like, you can then, after attuning to it, change Icewind Dale forever, perhaps, and start to control the weather.
All right. I say out loud, and then write in the snow as well for doubling down. How does this help Zaps?
I don't think that device can get me back. I think you just have control over the weather now. I mean, I have no physical body to return to. Shove a gem in that damn golem.
All right. Stick some tourmaline in the golem.
There's now tourmaline in like this semi-dry clay, semi-humanoid looking figure.
And then I stand over and I go, "Oh right, yeah." And then I kind of like squat over it and then waving my hands, I go, "Wiggly woo, Zaps, this body's for you."
Wiggly Woo is nice.
So you've taken the time to attune to it, and you're
Yeah,
preparing to do what it does.
yep, guess so. So I'll turn it to, if I can, if I understand how, sunny, warm.
So when you are prepared, it will take you 10 minutes to cast this spell. You will kind of cast it as you as a central point in the location, and you will have to concentrate for approximately 8 hours to keep the spell going. But as you prepare, you are able to decide whether you would like it to be clear, cloudy, foggy and overcast, rain, hail, snow, torrential rain, driving hail, or a blizzard.
Oh, no fucking sun then, all right.
Clear.
Yeah, clear's the
Clear.
closest thing.
Gotcha. And then when you are in that process, you can decide whether you would like it to be unbearably hot, warm, cool, cold, or Arctic cold.
Warm.
And then when you are ready, you can decide whether you would like to have calm, moderate wind, strong wind, gale force wind, or storms.
Calm.
So as you prepare and you go through the process, you will start to see as very slowly the outside of the cabin stops kind of shaking in the wind. You start to see actual white yellow light coming about in the area, and the flickers of the aurora start to give way and break. As you spend a little bit of time, the winds slow, the sun comes out, it starts to heat up where you all get uncomfortably warm with your furs on and with the fires going. But after about that 10 minutes of time, all of the windows are shining in with a bright yellow light that lights up this cabin. Looking around, you can see the signs of the snow almost sweating as it's starting to melt around you in much too hot of conditions from what this place has been in probably 3 or so years at this point, if not much longer. This is probably for warm weather. It's probably like the highest day of summer is kind of what you like get that immediate feel of. But over this like 10 minutes to an hour, the conditions start to turn, and you're reasonably sure that this is the first time a lot of people have seen sun, like a lot of children. And this is the first time that a lot of people in Icewind Dale have seen the sun in quite some time. And
Wait,
if and when you are prepared to walk outside, you'll see that for the first time you can see for miles in any direction around yourself. And you can actively see that there's a certain point where the effect gives way and it's still darkness around you. You can still see the aurora around that, and you can still see like miles, like multiple kilometers high, like cloud coverage of whatever the rime is, the way it keeps the sun out. You're like looking at a cross section of it, and you are this central point of sunlight that all of this is inside of.
So when you're saying then about how like children seeing the sun for the first time and stuff, does that mean that it's quite far reaching then? I know you're saying, kilometers of you can see for miles around and stuff, but does that give me the impression that it's Lonely Wood, etc., or is it that the whole of 10 towns, or
Make a wisdom check for me, and you can add your
shit anyway?
perception modifier. Oh, that sucks ass. What's your perception, like a plus?
+3.
Oh wait, wisdom is a perception, anyways. I didn't do that as creatively as I thought I was. So looking around, this is where it pays for me to have maps in front of me that actually have scales on them. And of course, the map I bring up doesn't even have a scale. Why do you not have a scale? Maps need scales.
Zap's got scales.
Not now.
No, Zaps is fucking dead.
Not giving up yet, buddy.
Alrighty, so from where you're at, okay, I feel like you can probably see vaguely to the peak of Kelvin's Cairn. That's a much smaller spell than I was thinking it was. Vaguely to the peak of Kelvin's Cairn, and probably close to Lonely Wood. But effectively, I think your 5 mile radius is not as amazing as it might be.
So
It
are we
seems a
about
little
here
bit
then? Sorry.
anticlimactic.
So we about here. Okay, a little bit to the left then.
Yeah, that's what I mean, where it's kind of anticlimactic, because I was thinking you all are kind of a little bit more north, but I feel like it almost has to include Kelvin's Cairn, because that gives you like the greatest kind of idea behind it. But for what it's worth, let's say that you can see Kelvin's Cairn, like the actual peak of Kelvin's Cairn, in kind of, again, this is almost like an eye of a hurricane kind of situation where you're looking at all of it around you. I can't believe it's that small though, but that's pretty close to what I see as the 5 mile radius.
Okay. Well, very impressive. It's pretty good. First time I've seen sun since I left for this shithole. Um, that's nice. Side distraction. Back to the main job in hand. Let's get Zaps out of here somehow. He's clearly still here.
So let's call it that, just because it actually makes sense. It like fits a little bit. You can almost
Sure.
see parts of the lake. You can see Kelvin's Cairn. Um, kind of the type of thing where, at very least, you're pretty sure that you've shed light on Lonely Wood as well as on Tamerlane.
Okay, I'm going to check the diplomat's pouch for some kind of written response.
Looking inside of the diplomat's pouch, you'll see that there's a note in it. Great, bring it back to me. Or, great, bring me what you found. Something to that effect.
I'm going to write another note and I'm going to say, our friend tried to pick up the device. He's vanished, but is writing us notes in the snow. How do we save him to bring it back to you?
let me get a perception check from Kansas and Faint.
I certainly can't tell.
So kind of like looking around everywhere, you will see that the actual pile of ash that was once Zap's is no longer there. And eventually, kind of curious where Zap's might be like writing from, you can make your way into the largest little laboratory there, and you see next to that little clay golem a tiny little kobold just curled up in a ball, seems to be exhausted, and almost like his fists are like a little bit bloodied, but it seems like he's been punching something all night long.
Hey, is that Zaps? Zaps!
You're literally the person who did not see him.
Oh, never mind.
Let Josh react to him first. Come on, you rolled the one.
Well, that's okay. So I'm going to respond to what happens now. Right, well, job's here, it's done. Let's leave. This place seems unsafe.
Am I awake or am I out?
Oh, shit.
At that point, they'll basically be waking you up.
Oh, I
You
was just
beautiful,
joking. Like,
beautiful fucking idiot! And I'm gonna just jump on fucking Faint and just like damn near tackling him, hugging him.
I go praying for weight distribution immediately. Oh, good to see you back, mate. I thought I lost you there for a minute, but I was convinced there was no way you were completely fucking gone. Jesus, don't scare me like that.
I thought I was fucking gone too. This crazy fucking giant head wouldn't shut the fuck up. Speaking of which, I'm gonna look around. Is he there somewhere?
The last thing that you remember was actually like while you were punching and like fighting him throughout the entire night. At some point, you remember just like going like full rage, like 100-foot tall kobold, and just like throwing a punch, and that was the one. And the head just dissipated into nothingness. And that's one of your last memories before you woke up to the sight of Faint.
Either way, thank you. And I'm gonna turn to Kansas. I assume she's in the room, right? And I'm still on, like, I'm on Faint's shoulders at this point, just like happy tapping his head.
After the screeching, yeah, I'm sure Kansas would come in.
I gave him a hug back, by the way, once I was praying.
Soon as soon as Kansas walks in the door, I'm gonna point at her and just go, "What the fuck? You were just gonna fucking bail on me? I was trying to rattle the window to get your fucking attention. What kind of friend are you?"
You were powder. You weren't even powder. How was I supposed to know? Where the hell did you go anyway?
I think I got fucking plane shifted somewhere. I don't know where the hell I went. All I know is there was some giant floating head. I thought it was God at first till it wouldn't shut the fuck up.
That must have been a hell.
You have no idea. But maybe next time take more than 5 seconds to abandon your friend.
Fine. Take 6 next time.
So while you all are kind of enjoying this like moment together, there's going to be like a particular area of the roof above you all that you just hear like the slightest sound that makes you all remember like, oh, this place is covered in snow and it's melting and it's also really rickety. And when you kind of like look up to that point where the roof seems to be like groaning under the weight of everything, you're just going to see a tall humanoid, about like 15 or 20 feet tall, cloaked in just white light, kind of descending through the area. And looking around to your group, you'll see as this person doesn't seem to move, but you start to hear their voice in your head, and you'll hear, "The Morning Lord is pleased with you." enjoy our gift with honors. Thank you all. And effectively, you all are going to be um, um, given a blessing of the Morning Lord. I will create the actual, it'll end up being another feat that you all have access to. But at the start of each day, the three of you will gain 10 temporary hit points.
Ooh.
Sweet.
Just out of interest, I'm assuming the answer to this is no, but does this glowing person look anything like the glowing person we saw for oral?
The glowing person for oral? No, it is definitely not oral.
No, I know it isn't, but I'm just wondering, is there any similarities between this avatar for the Morning Lord to the glowing figure we saw in the woods a couple of sessions ago for oral?
Like a brother.
When you all were leaving the like ice lodge, is that what you mean?
I think it was, yeah, there was the glowing figure we saw.
No,
As in
that was definitely a human who was dead and radiating white light.
okay. So this is an
Which,
avatar as
speaking
opposed to.
of, when you all leave this room, you're going to see one of those creatures coming towards you.
I assume all my gear's toast, right?
I effectively think it's more you're going to be without like your traditional clothing. I think you should basically write off at this point like your cold weather gear and your like normal clothes, but your actual hammer and your shield, I think you can recover those. And then the rest of your backpack you had left behind, so that would all be perfectly fine. But I think that's where just once you get back to town, you'll have to rebuy cold weather gear and you'll have to buy some like normal clothing as well. Um, I think as far as like leaving this place goes, it wouldn't be impossible for you to find something to throw on so you're not just walking around naked. But at the same time, it's like super hobbled together, like basically taking like the wet like bedding and kind of like using that as a wrap around yourself.
What about
Here you
my
go, mate.
scale mail,
Say
like
I'll
my armor?
No reason for that to be damaged.
Cool.
I'll give him my cloak. Just don't let anyone know I'm a kid, yeah.
No worries, friend. You don't have to worry about anything with me ever again.
Well, as long as
Needless
it
to
was
say,
touching fucking objects.
hey man, I can't help it. I'm fucking curious. All right, eat my ass.
Sounds like you're very curious if you're asking men to eat your ass.
Well,
But
once in water deep, stays in water deep. That's all I'm saying.
so we see this. It's moving on. So we see this
Fucking
figure.
got him with that one.
Right. I'm going to pocket some of the documentation that was on the desk, and I'm going to.
We have this like shining zombie fucking thing coming towards us. We either need to fight or haul ass. Pick one of the two.
Hold on. So I'm just thinking of a way. Can we secure a rope up here? I'm willing to sacrifice my rope to rappel out the back window if we can secure it in here, and then circumvent wide round the outside in the opposite direction, heading back towards, I guess, Lonelywood first.
It's like 20 feet down. If you wanted to do something like that, you could certainly do something. You've also fallen through that floor and barely taken any damage, so the idea of dropping down into the snow isn't necessarily super dangerous. But is that your plan at this point? Are y'all going to run?
Yes, I'm not fighting it.
Sure.
I mean,
I don't. I was gonna say I
should
don't care if it's a no combat session. I just don't want to fight this thing.
all right, fuck it. I'm with the rest of you guys. Haul ass. Rogue says haul ass. We haul ass. Wait. Fuck the dog. Ah, fuck the
It's
dog.
going to
I'll
take
make
you
another
time
one.
to Yeah, it's going to take you time to create it. Again, what actually happens when you go when you die? The dog dies, right?
Actually, I hold on. Give me just a second. I got to read on.
Because
I
doesn't
would
it
think
just
it
go
just,
inanimate? You would have
yeah,
to cast it again to create another one.
because it's metal. It wouldn't disappear.
I didn't say disappear.
Uh, only- um, it says if I'm incapacitated, it can take actions of its choice, just not dodge. So I guess it's still
You were dead
technically.
though. Incapacitated and dead are two different things.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's fucking gone. Then I assume it actually doesn't specify that at all.
The defender also perishes if you die. So I think what it comes down to is realistically, you basically need a pile of steel. Like you need a pile of metal to create another one. If you guys are going to run from this fight, I would say you have to abandon that pile of metal, but that doesn't mean that you can't just find another one and create it when you are ready.
Yeah, I just got to basically find someone that's got a smithy and spare metal. I'm totally fine with that. If we need to haul ass, we need to haul ass.
I think we do need to go.
Yeet, let's go.
Okay.
So on some level, you all will be chased by the two little flying like icicles that are like following this thing. That's not even going to be remotely worth even like vocalizing a fight, how easy those are to kill. But you all can basically destroy those. The creature that's walking at you, that is that beacon of light, is very much slower than you. And with any concerted effort to flee from it, there's no way that it's going to catch you. And it's pretty confident that you all don't even have to run for long before it is simply lost behind you, and you can more or less continue to progress forward, and it's not going to be able to catch you. But you all can flee. You can make your way back towards civilization. Let me get a round of survivals from Kansas and Zaps.
Just to say as well, when we get to Lonely Woods, don't let on about we were the cause behind the weather, because I don't want them to try to kill us to take the object.
To be completely honest, I say we avoid Lonelywood altogether. We kind of fucked things up there.
I don't think they like us.
I say beeline
But-
our asses back to Tourmaline.
And by we, you mean me. But we do need somewhere to take a rest on the road. But if we can take rests on the road, then okay, I'm alright with
Roll 2d6 for me, please. Or 1d6 from Kansas, 1d6 from Zaps.
That's 2 1s in a row. That's bullshit.
That's actually where you want the one.
Oh,
That
okay.
was how many
Wait.
days it was taking.
All right, never mind. I'm gonna quit talking shit.
Over the next 5 days, progressing back towards civilization, you all are able to make your way straight to Tourmaline, then, was the idea?
Yeah, fuck Lonelywood. Don't go anywhere near that place.
Gotcha. So you can make your way back towards Tourmaline, and I think we're just going to effectively end it there as you all get back to Tourmaline. One of the things that at this point you will all notice is that the Summer Star is non-magical at this point. It cast the spell once. You were able to bring sunshine around yourselves once. And it has the ability to stop at least part of the Rime of the Frost Maiden. It is not the solution in its entirety, but it at least gives you a little bit of an idea why perhaps Akalos was looking for the item in the first place. and perhaps the other wizard who was in East Haven was looking for it. But at present, I think it's perfectly functional for you all to arrive back in Tourmaline. I think we'll probably have you all pick up a little bit more information, because that is a friendly town. But let me have you all roll. And let me do a d20 from each of you. So I think while you all are in Tourmaline, you will once again have some contact with Oris Mastiu. And at some point, conversation will kind of like fall back to this idea that there have been feuds between some of the Goliath clans on the spine of the world. And in part, they know and understand this more because that there have been small war bands of orcs who actually have been kind of using this as an opportunity to like sneak through and come into 10 towns, where the Goliaths would tend to stop a lot of these other than like the biggest raiding parties. But they have kind of the knowledge that there's some level of, if you search out these Goliaths and you find a way to get them to a peaceful resolution, might be some profit in for somebody who's an adventurer kind of going about the world doing rights. So that's just going to be another one of your effectively quests for Icewind Dale. And more or less along a pretty similar idea as to the one that you all currently have, which is to search for the fireball that crashed in the southern part of the mountains. This is basically kind of like a northeastern part of those mountains.
Sounds like we should try to find the fireball and then work our way northeast towards the Goliaths. Or, you never know, the fireball might be what's causing the Goliaths to act up.
Yeah. So did it come? So yeah. Okay. No, it doesn't matter. Suspect. I still think we need to prioritize getting this thing back as soon as possible. I don't totally trust the wizard, but we don't. It's run out of charge. We don't know how to recharge it. It might be a time-based thing or what. Don't know. But he was after it, and he offered us a shit ton of gold. So
Oh, yeah, no, I'm completely with you. I say on the way to the mountains, we drop this thing off in Bryn Shander and get our reward from the wizard.
yeah, sounds good. I think we should use that gold pretty quickly to get some better gear as well. Because if you're able to get seen off in one object interaction, I think we need to bulk up a bit before we carry on. Seems it might be a bit flimsy.
I mean, I took essentially what is this game's version of a nuke to the chest. So
Basically,
Everything about that was how that mission was created. Somebody was meant to die to be able to solve the problem.
okay.
For the
All right.
exact same reason that as soon as you guys actually activated it, it reverses the fact that he died. Anybody who died within 24 hours was resurrected when you activate it. If you guys had left that place, this was literally what our conversation was. Is it's like, you can help them, you need to help them to solve this. But if they leave you, I need you to create a new character. And Jamie's first thought was, we should go. I'm done here. We
yeah,
should go.
as soon as he said that, I was like, Jamie's gonna fuck me. I'm gonna lose this character.
Sorry.
But that was how that thing is created. It is meant to go off to the first person who touches it, because it's the only way for Macreadus to talk to you, and basically he's meant to be like the thing that gives you all clues. So on some level, I feel like it was really a lot of the difficulty on that, I think, was far more how trying to interact with the world around him, how low Chase rolled that whole time. That was one of those like examples of like you had a +2 and didn't roll over a 10 on like 19 dice out of 20.
Yeah, that
Yeah, I
was
could,
that was like a statistical improbability. I felt like Will Wheaton for a minute.
yeah,